Hopefully, anyone watching this who has pets has already had them vaccinated against rabies. It's a very simple step to take, and one that can save a lot of heartache down the road. It's not that expensive, and some animal welfare organizations often offer reduced and even free vaccinations, so if you haven't had it done, look into it. Because right now, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is stepping up to tackle 3 outbreaks of wildlife rabies to the tune of $19 million in emergency funding. The department's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, or APHIS for short, is looking to boost up its supply of oral rabies vaccine baits to address outbreaks happening currently in Alabama, Maine, and Vermont. These baits include the vaccine dose encased in a tasty treat to be found and ingested by targeted animals. The growing number of response cases, as well as increases in cost, has depleted the bait stocks normally appropriated in the USDA budget, so the $19 million is being diverted from unspent balances left over from previous animal and plant health emergencies. Wildlife rabies poses significant risks to domestic animals, such as livestock and pets, said Dr. Michael Watson, APHIS administrator. By reducing rabies in wildlife populations, we are safeguarding both human and animal health and decreasing the risk of disease spread, which would jeopardize the success APHIS has achieved since 1995 in managing rabies. In addition to the 3 states which are currently hotspots for rabies cases, the agency is also managing 6 additional high-risk areas with an emerging rabies risk. These include Watertown, New York, Buffalo, New York, Youngstown, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Birmingham, Alabama, and rural regions of eastern Vermont and western New Hampshire. The USDA says this emergency transfer will prevent further spread of the rabies virus in wildlife by allowing APHIS to implement supplemental vaccine baiting operations that may include increasing bait density, expanding the area currently under management, and conducting additional oral rabies vaccine baiting actions. The National Rabies Management Program controls and eliminates rabies virus in terrestrial carnivores such as raccoons, coyotes, and foxes. This in turn reduces the risk of spreading to domesticated pets, and in turn, to humans as well. The Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service's long-standing efforts have prevented the spread of raccoon rabies by establishing a vaccine baiting zone from Maine to Ohio along the Canadian border and from Ohio to Alabama. The National Rabies Management Program also collaborates with the Texas Department of State Health Services to maintain a vaccine baiting zone along the border of Texas and Mexico to prevent the reemergence of canine rabies into the United States. According to the Centers for Disease Control, fewer than 10 Americans die from rabies every year, but this is a result of efforts carried out in the latter half of the 20th century. Prior to 1960, several hundred Americans died from the disease every year. The CDC says the reduction in deaths from this virus is due to successful vaccination of pets and animal control programs, public health tracking and testing of human and animal rabies cases, and the availability and use of rabies-related medical care after infection. Prior to 1960, domesticated dogs were the primary source of rabies infections in humans. However, today more than 90% of such cases involve bites or scratches from wild animals. Interestingly, the wild animal that tops the list for rabies transmission to humans or pets is bats, with about a third of all cases. Rabid bats are found in all U.S. states except Hawaii. The CDC points out that while some species of bats are more susceptible than others, all bats can be infected, and any contact with a bat should be reported to a health provider or a local public health department. Other animals high on the list to pass along a nasty rabies infection are raccoons, skunks, and foxes. So while there's no need for panic, this is a good reminder to keep those pets vaccinated and practice caution when pets or people find themselves in close proximity to wildlife. Don't stop here. Find out more. Visit the links in the description below for more in-depth information on the stories presented in this video. Or if you are a part of a wildlife organization doing something interesting right now, let us know in the comments.